Hey everyone, PTL here. I'm finally getting around to doing my Q&A video, so I'll answer some questions. I'll also show you the kitchen project update. It's finally done and I'm getting around to doing the questions. And so the verse I'm looking at today is one I looked at often, and a favorite verse. It is Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. Actually, last year at Christmas, not this past Christmas, the one before, I got that sign up there, be still and know that I am God. And also a thanks to Eileen and to my daughter Leah, who both gave me a Be Still mug. Here's a Be Still mug from Eileen. And the other side says, be still and know that I am God. And a similar mug from my daughter, be still and know that I am God. And I love both of those mugs. This one has the same thing on the other side. And then Eileen also gave one to my wife Sue, Hope. And the other side says, hope is strong and trustworthy, anchor for our souls, Hebrews 6:19. So thank you, Eileen, and thank you, Leah. And there's that wonderful verse, be still and know that I am God. So I'm probably going to break this down into two videos, ask some of the questions now and then go through the other ones in a future post. But I'll start out with the first question from Joe Peters. And he said, do you carry a small bottle of Permethrin? And no, I didn't carry a small bottle of Permethrin, but I did use Permethrin regularly on the trail. I started out 2 days before I left for Georgia, spraying all my clothes with Permethrin, let them dry for a couple days. Permethrin is supposed to last when you spray the clothes for 6 weeks or 6 washes. The timing of that worked out very well with my wife visiting me. She visited me a number of times. The first time was maybe a little bit over a month after I started. And she would bring a new bottle of Permethrin. We'd be staying in a hotel or hostel together. And I was able, the night that she picked me up, lie the clothes out on the grass outside the room and spray the one side, let them sit for a little while, turn them over, spray the other side, and then hang them up for the night. And by morning, they were dry and ready to go for the next month. So that worked out well doing it that way. I made sure to spray them a little more than I had to, instead of every 6 weeks, every month, because I have had Lyme's disease before and I didn't want to mess with that. The trail wasn't maintained as well last year in 2020. And so I sprayed my clothes pretty regularly and didn't want any ticks on me. I only saw one tick the whole trip, and that was actually, I was hanging my tent when we were in a hotel, and a tick fell off the tent in the bathroom. My daughter actually found it, and that's the only tick we saw the whole trip. So the Permethrin worked, and I didn't have any problem with ticks, so that worked out well. I also didn't have much of a problem with bugs most of the trip. One part of that was because I left late. It was pretty cool still when I left in the south, and by the time I got up into New Hampshire and Maine, the cool weather was back in September, and so I didn't have a big problem with bugs. Part of that might have been in the mid-states to the fact that I had a lot of Permethrin on my clothes. So Joe also asked, what equipment and apps did you use for your blog, tripods, etc.? All right, so my vlogging equipment was composed of my i8, my iPhone. That was my main computer. I took all my pictures on the phone, but then I used a GoPro Hero 7 Black for my videos. And I had an adapter. The GoPro comes with an SD card slot, so I used the SD cards for my backup. And I had multiple SD cards. I think I used 4 SD cards during the whole trip. And so that's what I used to back up. But each night after filming the video for the day, I would take out the SD card, put it into a SD card to Lightning adapter, plug it into my iPhone, load all the videos into the phone, and then combine that with the pictures, add some music, and did the editing on the app that came with the iPhone, which was iMovie. Nothing fancy, just pieced them together and added some music, you know, cut out some parts that I didn't want and put it together into a movie. And then I could keep probably 5 to 10 videos along with all the pictures and backup videos that were from the GoPro on my phone before the phone filled up. I had a 64 gig memory on the storage on the phone. So I was limited to the amount I could put on the phone. So I had to get them uploaded and out so that I could clear out the storage. I also had the normal, you know, charging plugs. I had a RAV Power charger as well as a RAV Power battery bank. The RAV Power battery bank was a newer version, which was fast charging, which means that when I went into town, I would plug in that high power charger, and the RAV Power battery bank would be able to be charged in about 3 hours. I also had a stick pick to start out. So early in the hike, I was using a stick pick with an adapter to put my iPhone or GoPro on. The GoPro was a little small to fit in that adapter, so I just used a stick or a chapstick roll to fill in the gap, and that worked well. The only problem is I often forgot to take the adapter and the stick pick off of my pole after I filmed, and then I'd start hiking and I'm planting that thing into the ground. So I broke 2 of them. I did have another adapter that it could have had Sue bring to me, but the second time I broke it, when I took the stick pick off, I thought I put it back in my backpack, and I must have left it in a hostel or somewhere because I couldn't find it after that. So I decided to go without it. Whenever I filmed myself walking on the trail or something like that, I just took my GoPro and placed it on a rock or a branch, and you know, the GoPro has a little flat surface on it, so I just went simple. I did get a few selfies with the stick pick at the beginning of the hike, but toward the end of the hike, I didn't worry about it and just used the GoPro on my phone. So Joe also asked, he mentioned that I wore pants every day, and so he's asking about my cleaning routine and probably hit the laundry once in a while. Well, yeah, I did hit the laundry once in a while. I would say every 3 to 5 days, more like 4 or 5 days is when I would do laundry. Having used the Permethrin, I really didn't want to do laundry too much because I didn't want to wash that Permethrin off my clothes. As a matter of fact, on one visit for my wife and daughter, they did laundry for me the first day they were there, and then they were there for a week. So each day I went out and hiked, and they wanted to do my laundry every day, but I wouldn't let them because I didn't want to wash that Permethrin off. So at the end of the week that they were there, we did laundry one more time, and I was clean for the next week. But I did laundry every 3 to 5 days, and that worked out pretty well for me. My wife and daughter probably wouldn't agree. They thought I smelled pretty strong when they came down for visits, but you get used to it when you're on the trail. You know it's there, but you get used to it and don't notice. So. But I did do laundry periodically, usually at a hotel or hostel. Again, as I mentioned before, sometimes I stopped at a hostel, did my laundry, took a shower, and then charging my battery banks and resupplying there, and then went back out on the trail. So Susan Hughes had asked similar questions. What kind of camera did you use on your through hike, and what kind of editing program? I think I just answered that. Using the GoPro and the iPhone, as well as the iMovie to put everything together and get ready to upload to YouTube. I did have to wait sometimes to upload. The first 5 days on the trail I couldn't upload, so that gave me a 5-day delay in my uploads, and after that I was pretty much within that 5 days able to get the rest of my videos out and remained on that 5-day lag the rest of the trip. There were times I uploaded on the trail from my tent. There are other times where I had to go into town. If I stayed in a hostel or a hotel, I did it there. There were some hostels, hotels I couldn't upload. One time I stayed at one, couldn't get an upload. And then 2 miles up the trail, I found a hot spot, and from the trail, stopped for a couple hours and loaded 3 videos from the trail. So it varied. You had to check your phone now and then to see if you had any access and upload from the trail, or wait till you got into town and were at a hotel or hostel. So John from Michigan asked me, what settings do you use on your GoPro when you're on the trail? I often played around with the settings. I changed them from time to time. Some of the settings that I did use on the FOV early on, it was on Super View. I think that was an accident. I didn't realize it was on Super View, which is the very wide angle. And the wider the angle you put, the more you're going to get in the picture, but it distorts it more. And so you'll see things like trees as you're moving. The trees look like they're bending, and it's kind of distorting the picture a little bit. Eventually, I changed that to a wide angle. Again, you're still getting a little wider view, but a little less distortion, but it still does distort it. And eventually, I settled on just leaving it on linear, so it wouldn't have any distortion in it. The RES FPS I had set on 1080-60. The stabilization was always on auto. I found that for the mic, stereo was the best setting. If you leave the mics on auto, the GoPro has multiple mics, and if you leave it on auto, the phone randomly, based on what it's hearing, gonna change which mic it's using. So it's picking up wind, it's picking up background noise, it's listening to your voice, and so the mics it's using change. And so as you're walking down the trail, you're talking, it's picking up your voice, all of a sudden it switches to another mic and your voice kind of drops off. I've heard that on many other people's posts. Their voice seems to come in and out, and I found it happened to me a few times when my sound was on auto. So I like to put the sound on stereo. That way it's picking up all the mics at the same time, and doesn't tend to have that fade in and fade out of your voice. So that was the best setting for me for the mic. And so another piece of advice would be to keep an eye on your settings. You're hiking, you're filming, you're editing at the end of the day, and you can accidentally hit some buttons and change your settings when you don't know it. I had that sound setting change back to auto a number of times, and then I'd find my voice fading in and out. So you have to be careful with that. So check your settings now and then and make sure they're where you want them to be. And another thing to do is play with it. Especially on your pre-hikes, play around with those settings and see what you like the best. So Eileen asks, how have you adjusted to, quote, normal life after the trail? And I think I've adjusted pretty well. Doing the trail was a high school dream for me, something that for many years I put on the back burner. I did a lot of hiking with family. We went up to the White Mountains and did the 4,000 footers over the years. Every year we went up there, did all 48 peaks over a long period of time. Did a lot of other little hikes. A couple years ago, before this hike, getting close to retirement, I had the opportunity to retire early and started thinking about it again, and started watching YouTubers. And once I started watching others doing it, the seed was planted. My wife started watching. She was enjoying it and totally on board. I did a couple section hikes. I did all of Connecticut in one shot as a trial. Great learning experiences doing that. Got blisters, bad blisters, learned how not to get them. Did some section hikes up in Massachusetts and New York. And so, that seed that was planted years ago was always there. I had the opportunity to do it, but it wasn't really the center point of my life. My family and relationship with the Lord is the most important thing. And this was just an opportunity to go out and enjoy His creation. And so coming back home, I looked forward to it. Jumped right into doing a project for my wife, redoing the kitchen. I'm not a construction person. I worked in an office my whole career. I dabbled in doing do-it-yourself projects at home over the years and figured out how to do things, but I'm definitely not fast. So I just finished the kitchen, and it took me a long time to do it. It took me 4 months to hike the trail. Well, it probably took me 2.5 months to do that kitchen project, but I would do a little at a time. My son helped me on some of the major parts, and you know, so I spent time waiting for him to, when he had time to come over and do his part. So, you know, wasn't in a big rush, but came out really nice. And the main part of that is Sue is pleased with it. So we've adjusted well. Interesting, I found that I was one and done. I did the trail. That was it. The dream's fulfilled. And, you know, I'll still do hiking, smaller hikes, even overnighters. But no big desire to, when I finish, to do another long distance trail. But, you know, now that I've been home for a number of months, I'm starting to get the bug to go out and do it again. I don't think I do the AT, but, and I don't like how long I was away from home and from ministries I'm involved in. But I got the bug to go out and do another one. So maybe I'll find a shorter one to do. You know, we hike some on the New England Trail. I did part of the long trail when the AT goes along with it, so maybe I'll do the long trail in the future or the New England Trail. And in the meantime, just do some local hikes. And I also would like to be involved in supporting AT hikers in future years. I really like what Iceman does. You know, I know there's trail angels all along the trail, but people like Iceman who really go out and give to a group of hikers consistently throughout the season. That was so great and so encouraging to me that I want to try to do some of that in the future. We'll see how it goes. So Nikki had asked, is Sue for hire? That one kind of made me chuckle, but maybe I'll let Sue answer that one for herself. So the question was, is Sue available for hire? And here's Sue to answer the question.
No, thanks anyway.
Is that all you have to say?
That's all I have to say.
Anything else? Where you going?
What are you doing?
That's all you got to say? That's it from Sue. She ran away from me. And I will say that Sue was extremely supportive. I know you've heard this before, and she was a big reason for the success of my through hike. I wish every through hiker could have someone like her to support them. It helped tremendously. Even the little things. I mean, I'm not a big planner. Sue is. And so she's the one that did all the planning on the Excel spreadsheet. She would plan out the mileage each day, to put it on a spreadsheet, you know, my starting point, where I was going to finish, how many miles it was. She researched where to go in for resupplies, where to stay at hotels or hostels, how I would get rides there. So she was a tremendous help in all of that. I didn't always stay to her plan. There were times where I varied off of it, but she would go right in, update the spreadsheet based on what I had done, and send me an update. She would take a picture of the section of spreadsheet for the next few days and send me a snapshot of that through a text. So is she available for hire? I don't think so, but she definitely will be by my side when we hope to go out and support other hikers in the future. Hey everyone, PTL here. A lot of you asked how the kitchen project was going, and it's finally done. Looking at it from the dining room through this little window. This window did have some upright dowels in it, which we took out and then painted. Coming into the kitchen, I added a couple of oak transitions, going from the oak floor here in the dining room into the kitchen, and there's another one on the other side going from the kitchen to the hallway. We pulled out 3 levels of flooring and then put in this vinyl flooring, which came out really nice. Color on the camera might not show it. It's a light gray color with some brown in it. Looks really nice. Pulled off all the wallpaper and then patched and painted the walls. Put in some new baseboard. Here's the window from the kitchen side. Walls came out nice, painted the ceiling. Over here we have some trim around the doorway, made a little crown on it. Going back out to the dining room. The cabinets were all oak, and so I pulled all the doors off, brought them outside and sanded all the doors, both the top and bottom, put a couple coats of white primer on, and then painted them white. Here's the bottom. Put some new hardware on. Better look at the floor. Put a new vent over by the in the back wall there for heat. Looking up, put in a new ceiling fan, a new light in the middle, and a new pendant light over the window. The box for that light was originally against the wall. The trim at the top here went all the way straight across, so that was all blocked off, so we cut that and trimmed it back into the corner, and then I moved the box out, pulled the wire from the attic and ran it to the new box, and then just patched the hole that was up there. As you can see, we put up some crown molding. Thanks to my son for his help with the crown molding, with the flooring, and also with the backsplash. Look at that, the backsplash is beautiful. So the original backsplash was for mica, a very thin layer of that. We pulled that off and patched the wall a little bit and put some nice tile in. It's beautiful. Here's the countertop. It's quartz, dark gray color with some nice white streaks in it. Here's the same trim around the doorway going out to the hallway. And the other transition board. Put some trim under the cabinets, just some 1/4 inch trim wood. And the most important thing is that my wife Sue is very pleased. We kept the same refrigerator, dishwasher, and stove. They match and they're all working, as well as the garbage disposal. So that was the last thing I hooked up yesterday. The sink is in, water's in, it's working. And I did replace some plugs and light switches. That was a single plug with a switch over it and then a switch on the side, so I changed it to 2 plugs with the 2 switches. This plug was not here. I ran off a different circuit up the wall so that Sue had another plug on a separate circuit so she wouldn't blow fuses. So again, the big thing is Sue is happy with it, so that's what this job was all about. Doing something for my wife and making her happy, and she's happy with it. So now we can start putting stuff back and using it again. Take a little break before I go on and start working on one of the bathrooms. Praise the Lord. So that's it for this first series of questions. I'll add the next one in a few days, and hope you have a great night. Hope you're all doing well, and let's keep praising the Lord.